head now to Deven Murugan at the Money Desk. Hi, Deven. So you and the team have been watching the latest audit report for national and provincial departments by the AG this afternoon. What's she saying about how they're spending our money?
Yeah, well, look, good evening, Sally. There are some improvements in the audit for this year, but I mean, she has raised flags. The audit outcomes from government and provincial departments, that is. I mean, Auditor General Tsakani Maluleke is saying there were 128 clean audits in the last annual audit, one more, or actually not one, but significantly more than last year. But she's warned that departments responsible for key service delivery areas are still lagging behind. Now, Aviwe Mtila has kept his eye on that presentation, and we'll chat to him now. Aviwe, thanks indeed for coming in. Whenever these audit outcomes are released, we always look for this big irregular expenditure figure. No difference this time around. I think it was 51 billion rand in irregular expenditure, and vastly lower from what we saw last year. But the Auditor General's office always cautions us against not looking at the total figure. Why is that?
A huge improvement indeed, Deven, when you look at it on paper, when you see the 167 billion rand irregular expenditure from last year and the significant jump to 51 billion rand this year. But the Auditor General, of course, warning that this shouldn't be taken on face value because of a lot of the auditees did not submit those irregular expenditures, let alone submit accurate data. And you'd find that SOEs such as Transnet did not submit after, of course, the National Treasury Department exempted them from submitted. So some of those worrying trends, mentioning Tsakani Maluleke, the Auditor General, that it could be a much bigger number than the 51 billion that she has. Yeah,
she did stress, however, that, look, there has been some welcoming improvement in some of the audits. 128 clean audits. But then she's cautioning that, look, there were clean audits there. We give the thumbs up for that. But that's not where the service delivery comes from, does it?
Certainly not. 30% clean audit when you look at the 128 clean audits. That in the audit base is 30%, which is a gradual improvement. But she did say we should put this into context, given that this is only 6% of the expenditure budget in its entirety. Provinces such as the Eastern Cape doing well, the cleanest audits of recent history. And you look at the Western Cape continuing the trend of being number one when it comes to clean audits. But of course, the big departments that have the big budgets on coming through when it comes to service delivery. For example, we do know Public Works, your Department of Transport, your Health, your just those big where the budgets go, only 6% in clean audits that the Auditor General mentioned there. In fact, I want you to take a listen to Tsakani Maluleke and how she details that.
Now, whilst clean audits make up 30% of the audits that we're reporting on, they are responsible for only 6% of the expenditure budget. This is because the majority of the institutions in the clean audit category are the smaller ones, rather than the big departments and entities, which are responsible for larger budgets and have a more direct and more immediate impact on service delivery. That state-owned entities and the key service delivery departments that are responsible for health, basic education, public works and infrastructure, transport, water and sanitation, as well as human settlements, that these auditees are lagging behind this improvement trend we spoke of, demonstrates that there is much work ahead of us if we are to improve accountability and service delivery.
So much work that still needs to be done, and she's put forward recommendations in the past. No doubt she's done it again today when she speaks about an entire ecosystem of accountability. I mean, within these departments, within these national and provincial entities, you have accounting officers, you have CEOs in there. And what she's arguing, I would imagine, is that, look, everyone in that chain needs to be accountable, and she's put forward some interesting recommendations.
Certainly did, and at the core of them, she mentions that there needs to be much greater focus and energy put into performance, planning, and managing these entities. And of course, investing in those capabilities, putting in skilled workers that can actually do the job, and those skilled workers being led to do the job. But of course, that coordinated work with everyone involved, not only the AG's offices that cracks the whip, but everyone from your president, your ministers, everyone in those departments to the municipalities themselves need to put in their hands and just ensuring that there's tighter control in these departments. In fact, let's take a listen once more to Tsakani Maluluke as she explains that.
It's important to invest in the capability of institutions, starting with filling vacancies with the right type of officials. Let's appoint people who are capable of doing the work at hand. And then let's give them space to do the work. And then let's afford some stability in those key roles. And with that, let's put in place the type of performance contracting that is consistent with what is expected. And then let's monitor and hold people accountable. In order to hold people accountable, we've got to strengthen in-year monitoring practices, starting with making sure that the information we have to monitor delivery on an ongoing basis, that information is credible. And we've got to insist on that.
All right, so there's still a long way to go before we get something concrete to be stamped as approval. Aviwe Mtila, thanks very much indeed for that update on the Auditor General's report. All right.